Hi, everyone. It is my absolute joy to introduce Dr. Alex Ling to you this evening. I think this is going to be a real treat for not only for myself, but for everyone listening. And welcome, Alex. Thank you for making the time because I know you're traveling right now.
Thank you for having me, Pam.
Yeah, delighted. And just to give you a little bit of background, Alex is a really remarkable man with huge knowledge. He's a former doctor, former GP, now a functional doctor. He's also an archaeologist with a lot of knowledge about megalithic sites, an astrologer, an astrophysicist, and currently living in the UK now, I think. Alex?
Yes, I am.
So a lot of knowledge about ancient stones and ancient sites, but also you've had a great involvement with frequency and understanding frequency, and that's what your products really are now all about. So how did you begin, Alex, on this journey with these incredible products, which we're going to be talking about this evening?
Okay. Yes. I started actually 14 years ago, which is quite some time ago now. And my interest was always, I was researching structured water for quite some time. And structured water, of course, is living water, which is connected to all the streams and springs. And so it's in its natural form. And of course, our tap water isn't, because tap water is forced through a piping system, and therefore it's very, very limited. It's not hydrating us on the level which we should be hydrated on a cellular level. And so then I researched structured water, and I was thinking how I could literally make a connection with one of my supplements, which I'm using for a very long time in my treatments, especially when it comes to autoimmune system disorders like cancer and other rheumatoid arthritis and arthritis. And then I needed to find a way how to use it. And the supplements that I've been using for a long time are frankincense and myrrh and gold. So in that connection, an absolutely amazing combination, which has a lot of properties which are extremely beneficial to us. So not only that they are a major anti-inflammatory, but especially in cancer research as of late, myrrh has proven to be very, very successful in the fight against cancer. So it's reducing the swelling, reducing the possibility for a cell mutation. There's all sorts of different science connected to it. And the only thing I had to do, find a way of making the resins water soluble. Now that sounds very easy, but it wasn't. So it took actually quite a few years to come to that, to the success to produce water soluble frankincense and myrrh. And finally, when I mastered it, it was building a bridge basically between the frankincense and myrrh and the monoatomic gold, which I'm using. And that has stabilized these two components so that I could introduce it to structured water, and it was perfectly connecting. And that was a breakthrough for me personally, where I thought, this is amazing. So now I've found a way for people to use it, my clients to use it, and the bioavailability was enormous. And that is the difference.
Wonderful. And you know, it's no accident, I think, that we are having this conversation at the very last degree of Pisces with the Sun conjunct Neptune here, all about water. And viewers may remember that when Saturn entered Pisces, I did a video talking about, I anticipated we're going to hear a lot about structured water. But Alex, what you're saying essentially with frankincense and myrrh and monatomic gold are your products helping to reconnect us to Christ consciousness?
Yes, that is exactly the point. There's a lot of research which I've done on the grounds of ancient texts, And of course, frankincense and myrrh always has been very valuable to our ancestors, especially in Egypt. It was more valuable than gold. And the reason for that is that it was not just used for purification. It was literally, it had a lot of properties which would allow us to travel interdimensional. So there were a lot of text which would suggest that especially myrrh is connecting to our GABA receptors in our brain and would allow us to connect our unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind. And that is actually, of course, very important for self-healing. So there we go. So, and that was really important to me to follow that path from a physical body, but also for our spiritual body, which is very, very important.
Amazing. And so, as well as the resins, I understand you introduced the love frequency into the water as well. So
that's right.
Tell us a bit about that. It's, again, remarkable. Today we have Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces.
Yes.
Water with love. It's just
absolutely. I mean, it couldn't have been a better time than this year, which everything is about the water, of course. And yes, so when we started to use this product, which was now about 11 months ago, it was an incredible experience for many, many people. And spiritually, it opened up a lot of people into, I mean, most of them were quite awake anyway, but it kind of opened up a completely new pathway where people had the ability to reflect on their life and also move on without fear. That was also something which myrrh and frankincense, of course, is stabilizing you in such a way. It connects air and earth. So there are many, many aspects which are very beneficial for our spiritual being.
That is so beautiful, because we either follow the path of fear or we follow the path of love. And
yes,
introducing, I think it's the 528 hertz into the water, and as I understand it, that's the frequency of love. So that is already embedded in the water, which is extraordinary. Yeah. And it's interesting. I was so excited because I only ordered them on Sunday evening, and they arrived today. And I thought, gosh, that's fast. But you have to take the water first. I have the two products here that you have to prime yourself with water. So I took, just before supper, 10 mils of the water, and then after supper, 10 drops of the Aquan. And what I did was I dowsed. I've got a very simple dowsing chart that doesn't have values on it, but nevertheless, I dowsed my frequency before taking the products and got a certain reading. And then after supper and after taking the Aquan drops, I dowsed it again. And it had almost doubled. And I thought, that can't be right.
Yeah.
So I tested it twice and I got the same answer. And I can feel now a lot of crown chakra activation. I thought, wow, that's remarkable, after just essentially one dose of each this evening. So this is tremendously exciting because, as you say, it's coming at exactly the right time. Myself, along with other astrologers like Heather Ensworth, etc., been talking about, this is sort of the ignition point. This is the start point of the real acceleration of the evolution for humanity. We're within hours of the Aries equinox, the whole new beginning, and then the total solar eclipse, big new moon, big new beginning in Aries. Then we've got Jupiter Uranus, which I've been talking about a lot as a kind of real jump in consciousness, a real expansion and opening up in our understanding and our connection to galactic beings and galactic heritage. And your products seem like a really powerful piece of all of that, really powerful ingredient of this. It's like we're going, we're being taken up the ski slope, and then we're just going to kind of helicopter lift from there.
Yes, I think you described it very well. Many of our clients who take Aquan the first time have very, very similar experiences. And they, even people who are not completely awake, they describe this kind of tingling on the crown chakra, and they are completely astonished how quickly it works. And you can literally also feel when the water, when you drink the first dose, how it really connects with all your cells within your body and hydrates you on a completely different level as well. So yes, it's quite incredible. So your many people also experience a different kind of a more intensified way of dreaming. So some people have to maybe process something within their dreams, something which they haven't thought about for a very long time, which is kind of in a way and stored away in our unconscious level. And other people just have beautiful dreams, which are very meaningful. And yes, it's all about the law of frequency. So if people take it, or when people take it, we also have had a lot of people say, I was the only person in my family who took it, but my partner actually also benefited from it. And that is because our water within our system, within our body, is communicating to other people who are also, of course, vessels of water. And so that way it spreads out beautifully. So the frequency really is something which we experienced ourselves as well, where the love frequency is really rippling out and making a connection to everybody around us. And that is the beauty of it.
Wow. And of course, we infect each other with our energy, as you say, Alex. We can't not, there's no barrier. So, and high frequency energies, I know myself, is much more influential on low frequency than the other way around. So, those of us taking these products are in service to the collective, we're in service to humanity. And I've done a little bit of work. I interviewed Veda and I've met Veda and follow her work, Veda Austin. And she describes, as you may know, water as God consciousness.
Yes.
And therefore, water is primary, water is source, not just a resource. And so are we just kind of the vehicles to carry the God consciousness? We're just the meat suits carrying we are liquid crystals in this kind of this meat suit, but carrying around God consciousness, which your products help to raise very rapidly.
I totally agree. And I did a lot of research where water actually is originating from. And as you maybe know, our ancestors called the water also the cosmic ocean. And that is because there is a direct link to the cosmos. So there's a huge body within our universe, which is a long, long distance away, billions and billions of light years. But so this particular body is called a quasar, and these quasars hold an enormous amount of water in form of a water vapor. And there is more and more evidence which suggests that the galaxies, including ours, is created through basically almost like giving birth through a quasar. So, and that's where apparently our water is originating from, because we carry the water from the cosmos. It would make sense, and also ties in with all the ancient texts which I have researched. So, and of course, this kind of blueprint, of creation is within us. Everybody carries it. Everything around us, everything living is carrying it. Our plants, our animals. So the whole planet is just one connective kind of information about our creation, and we all part of it. We all are creators, literally.
Yeah, and so water is the great connector, because it connects all living beings, trees, plants, animals, birds, because the water is just being circulated through us. And I understand some of the water on Earth is as old as 4.5 billion years old, that's just been constantly recycled back to the galaxy and through us, through the animals. So this would really just erase any kind of polarity between religions and nationalities and all of those things, because we are one consciousness, we are one living being connected by the water.
Yeah, and that's where also the frequency came into, about the hum, and I will talk about this in a little while. So the hum has an enormous frequency which connects us immediately with this source of creation. And this originated again from a sound which came from the universe. It came back to the moment of the creation. And it is, for example, if you wanted to describe it and put a note onto it, a musical note, it would be C4, like a lower C4, which is an instrument, for example, in ancient times, which they have used, which is a wooden flute. So the flute is one of the only instruments on this planet which can basically play this sound. So I was fascinated by it, and it comes from the gravitational waves out of space. And if you measure it, and they have done that, so then you exactly come up with this kind of note, this sound. So, and that's why I was so interested in it. I used it in many, many ways on ancient sites, and communicated with ancient sites as well. And yes, so it's like a whole study connected to it.
Okay, wow. Okay, so the creation of the universe via that note of C, is that like cymatics, where you sprinkle sand on a plate and you get certain patterns? And did the sound magnetize matter to the galactic filaments, kind of the galactic superhighways of information, essentially?
Actually, you're completely right. The semantics in this have a really important point, because it travels through matter. It also connects again with all the small water particles which are within the universe, within our atmosphere as well on this planet, and within us, of course. Yeah. So it's like a supercomputer.
Wow. And yes, I've seen on the website you describe it in that way, as a supercomputer. So because it contains all the memory from all the billions of years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we are all connected to it. We all know it. That's why certain sounds, like the hum, is so familiar with us. We use it, for example, women or men who hold a baby, for example, to just kind of try to calm it. They use a hum as a kind of communication tool, and as a tool to calm the baby when it's in distress or when it's not feeling well. And that's like a natural thing to do. So, or when we feel a bit anxious or have anxiety, many people hum to themselves. And that, again, kind of a self-assurance. So there's a lot of reasons why we hum, and many people do it without even knowing why. And that has to do really with the other thing is that the C4 node also is connected to our root chakra. So the root chakra, of course, is connected to Earth. So it's like a way of earthing us. And especially this year, it is so, so crucial and so important that we pay attention and we are connected to this planet. While especially the eclipse is going to occur within that time, which is in April.
Yeah, yes. And it's particularly important, I think, with the very unstable geomagnetics we have, with the peaks in the solar flare activity and the instability in the ionosphere. It seems particularly important, bare feet on the earth, bare feet on the grass. But you're saying, Alex, that your products would do that for people anyway, without having to have bare feet on the grass.
That's pretty much true. So it is connecting us to the 528 frequency, which is love. It is connected really to everything around us. But it calms us. It takes the fear away. Many people say that they felt soon as they're taking the Aquan, really calm and quite de-stressed. And that's also a very, very important point, especially over the last few years. Many people got really stressed because of all the situation occurring around the world. And I think that is something which is very important for us humans, that we are not directed anymore in terms of fear. And that is really the liberation process as well, so that we disconnect us from this kind of emotion of being fearful about our life, our future. And that's very, very important to me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And humming, as I understand, raises your frequency anyway.
Absolutely, exactly. So it raises our frequency, but also it completely connects us with this earth. So within the eclipse, of course, the duration, which is it's to do with many, many factors, as you already kind of hinted at there is a new moon on this day, and there's also the possibility, because of the new moon and because it's a solar eclipse, that we might have quite an active solar flare, which may occur at the same time. We're on the solar maximum, of course, and historically and in ancient times, this occurred in that combination before, especially in two huge events. One was around 5,000 years ago, and the other one was about 13,000 years ago, connected to the Great Flood. When this happened, the solar flare was responsible for a major rapid ice melt. Right. So the ice was melting. Then, of course, the flood happened as well, and it forced many of the ancient civilizations to live underground for a little while as well in the higher regions. I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. This is about our consciousness and being connected and being aware that this planet is going through changes, and we are going through changes as well, and we just have to adapt. We have to go and live with this planet and be in connection with this planet rather than being disconnected.
Absolutely.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, if everything is connected, which indeed it is in our universe, and we as humanity, or even a small dedicated group of us, can raise the collective frequency, then we may prevent the more extreme events happening with the earth, because everything, we calm the earth down, we send the earth love, we calm all that down.
So that is exactly why I came up with Aquan, because it was so important to me that we all are connecting, our consciousness is rising, that we are connected with Christ consciousness, and that therefore we can make a change. And I fully believe that very, very possible. I've seen this over and over again, especially over the last few weeks, where we had numerous meetings, and I was giving a few talks, and we had this hum experience, which we shared with many people who were present, and it was mind-blowing. It was absolutely the love in this in these places where I had the talk, which was just last few days ago in the town hall in Glastonbury, and there were about 140 people, I think, there. It was absolutely amazing. The vibration, the feeling of love, and everybody in the end we were all hugging each other, and there was such a love spread between everybody. And we were holding the sound for pretty much 4 minutes 28, so which was amazing, and that gave us just a little insight in how incredible, how easily we actually can make a change if we just connect to each other.
Absolutely. It's something I talk about a great deal in my videos, how we just have to choose to raise our frequency in one of the ways you're speaking about, Alex, and for free across the world we can change the quantum wave structure, we can change our future, we can change our tomorrow. So I love the work you're doing. I don't know if you're aware as well, with the astrology, that at the total solar eclipse it is within 1 minute of exactitude of an asteroid called Chiron. Chiron is known as the wounded healer, as you know, so it's illuminating where we've been wounded, particularly in our victim consciousness in terms of how we've lived, but it has great potential for healing, and it's literally within 1 minute, 60 minutes. So the potential for healing is enormous at this total solar eclipse, big new beginning. And so tell us a little bit about the hum and how you're organizing this and how we can participate.
Yes, so the hum is organized through talks, and also we're going to have a website. This is, I think, the very first time also that many different networks, and it doesn't really matter what kind of background they come from, so there's no specific group or religion or belief system. Everybody seems to join, and I think this is quite unique. So these kind of networks, and there are many of them all around the world. We had people joining from the most incredible countries, and I think this is the beauty of it. that we all can connect and just leave our belief system aside just for a moment, because we're all on the same path. We all want the same thing. And we're all connected through love. And that is really the only thing which matters. So we are organizing certain events, and there are different networks and groups who will organize certain events in connection with the eclipse so that people can join. We also have a Telegram group where people can join that way. There will be, all this information will be on our website, which is specially created for this event, for the eclipse. And so, yeah. So, sorry, I'm getting a wave. Yes.
The website will be running. It's working now.
Oh, okay. The website is already working, I've been told.
Okay, fantastic.
That's brilliant. And the website, the connection is the URL address is www.hum. That's HUM.
Yep. Small letters.
Yes.
Lowercase. Yep.
Yes. 2024.com.
Fabulous. And as you say, Alex, local groups will sort of join in with the whole event, because this is happening. It'll be 7:20 a.m. I think UK time by then. We'll be on British summer time.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, I believe that's the case. So.
We have a lot of preparations still to do. We're going to give a few more talks as well. But so, yeah, that's PM. Sorry, that's British summertime is PM.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So in Mexico at the time, that's AM. So we are going to be there with a small group of people. Sasha Stone is going to be there as well. And so we're going to be, we are visiting an area which is quite quite an unusual area. It's called the Zone of Silence, and it's near Mapimi, which is near Durango. So that's where the duration of the eclipse is the longest. So 4 minutes 28 seconds, actually 0.1 to be precise. And this area is quite interesting because it has a huge magnetic field, and it's very, very active. So your compass, for example, keeps spinning and spinning. So there's also a mountain region within the zone. And so we're going to climb this mountain, which is about 1,440 meters high. And so there are also some cave system and some remains of some ancient sites from the Aztecs. So a really fascinating area, but mainly the biodiversity of the plants and the animals within the area are quite unusual because they are being affected by this enormous magnetic field. So there's a biosphere reserve which is studying the plant life, especially within this zone. So there's nothing much there. There's a desert. It's all desert, but apparently it has an incredible feel, and also a lot of stories which seem to kind of originate from the area, from UFO sightings to extraterrestrial visitors. I mean, there are all sorts of different accounts and stories surrounding this area. But for us, it is mainly the energy, which is mainly why we're going there. And this, again, the hotspot of the activity within this event. So, yeah, it's going to be quite unusual.
So you're going to try and connect everybody at the same time around the world, which actually it's not a bad time. It's pretty good for Europe and the UK and obviously America, South Africa. It seems to work quite, luckily, it seems to work quite well that time for large global population.
That's right. So we do believe, because of its enormous energy field, that this place is something like a portal. And so the energy, we would like to start the hum there. And then from there, it will follow the shadow basically through all the other regions. And there are quite a few very interesting coincidence because we have the X point of the eclipse, as many people know, and traveling through Salem, and I mean it's just like an incredible event, which is so important. And what will happen also within this time, and that's where the hum kind of was. That's why the hum is so important, and the C4 and the frequency connected to it, is that when the eclipse totality is happening, within our ionosphere, the free electrons are spacing out slightly, so which means actually quite a lot. So that means that this artificial grid which we are living in, which is connected to all the Wi-Fi, our radio signals, the GPS, the satellites, everything, which forms this kind of artificial grid and actually stops us from being connected to the Earth grid, to our frequency, which we really should be connected to. So, and it means that this grid is actually lowering and almost disappearing completely. So there will be some scenarios, people think there might be GPS loss and all sorts of different things. But within the spacing out of the electrons, what is happening is that we have a window opportunity to connect with our consciousness and all the humanity to the real Earth grid. And that is the most important point of it all. Now, when we use a hum at that moment, we're reconnecting that kind of connection we have with the creational sound, because it's a primordial sound as well. Yeah. So, and within that moment, we are all connecting, and a huge surge of the of this beautiful, beautiful energy, which is connected to 528 as well, will go and search around the Earth. So that is the beautiful thing about it, and that's why the hum is so important.
And so this will encourage a kind of feedback loop, as I understand it, Alex, because with all of those people doing that, not only are we infecting the collective in general, we're also feeding that back to the Earth, and the Earth itself is feeding it back to us. So we're just reinforcing that feedback loop of love and this sense of, I run I don't run it, I just invited people to a very simple 15-minute meditation every Sunday evening, which we do collectively. I don't lead it, it's very Aquarian, we do collectively, with people having the most amazing experiences. And I always suggest to them, if they can't think of anything better, use the mantra of, we are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. Yes, exactly. So, and yes, you're absolutely right. It kind of ripples out from that moment. It will travel with the shadow of the eclipse around the world, literally. And also this resonance is not just there within a few hours. It continues to resonate for 15 hours as intensively as the moment we actually put it all into this Earth matrix. But also it will continue for another 10 to 11 months. Strangely, it will coincide with the moment of the 23rd, it's the 23rd of the March, I believe, where the rings of Saturn will temporarily disappear. Not really, it's an optical illusion, but in terms of energy, a very important point, which many people believe it has to do with the end of the controllers having hold over humanity.
Yeah, and what absolutely is fascinating as you're speaking, Alex, because I always look through an astrological lens, is, as you know, we have Saturn and Neptune co-present in Pisces, and they come together very closely next year within a degree, but they don't come together to the minute until February 2026, when they literally sort of hand in hand both step into zero of Aries, which I call the creator degree, the very first degree of the zodiac, and it's quite remarkable. And that to me is really saying that spiritual structured water, the Pisces side, has now transmuted into a whole new cycle of the new human. And I'm meaning the new human in a completely organic, natural way, but it seems that your products are really enabling us to get there much more easily and much more quickly.
Yes.
And what I've also got in my mind, I don't know if you've studied at all the dwarf planets. There's a dwarf planet called Salacia, way, way out beyond the orbit of Pluto. And it's mermaid energy. It's the wife of Neptune in myth. And she is related to the shimmering sunlight and moonlight on the seas. I believe she's linked to the photonic energy that we're moving through right now in a very concentrated way. And I believe that she really is liquid light.
Yes.
Liquid light. And of course, we are liquid light. So your products are enabling us to move faster to the light body, it seems.
Absolutely, that is very true. That's what people have noticed, that suddenly by using Aquan, that they have instantly kind of jumped almost quite an important part, but something which opened up a completely new pathway, so that many things have been making sense, something which they kind of on a personal level for their spiritual development suddenly have kind of moved them forward, and they're looking back on their pathway and understanding quite a few things which were holding them up for many years maybe. And so definitely it's almost like they've been connecting again to this original source of creation, so where they understand why they're here, what their path is, and it just gives them also that reassurance and the self-assurance that they're not here just to be living this life which is pretty meaningless, so they suddenly see a purpose, and that's the beauty as well. So yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it fits so well with the end of the Kali Yuga cycle as well, because I believe that is at the turn of the year, end of 24, early 25. And I don't know whether you're also aware of a chap called Rory Duff, who is English. Yeah, because he is also saying by the end of this year, all of the Earth's energy lines will come into harmony for 200 years of peace around the world.
Yes, exactly. I think, I studied quite a bit the site of Megiddo.
Yeah.
Of course, Israel and or Levant area. So it's very, very interesting what's happening there at the moment as well. So there's of course a huge conflict, and this site has been within this kind of, let's say, warlike energy for a very, very long time. There's a lot of negativity around this site. So from thousands of years back, I've found texts going back 14,000 years, and describing how this highway between the Arabic world and of course Turkey and the European world was constantly surrounded by conflicts, and also a lot of sacrificial things which happened there. So Megiddo as such is like a huge mound, and 30 different civilizations on top of each other. So in archaeology, they have had a big job to identify all of them. So there's also a spring, and this entrance where you can go and go down all the steps towards the spring, the original spring. And it's quite interesting because that water, so they have tried and tried for many, many centuries and many of thousands of years, basically, to infiltrate that water and the blueprint of the water to send out this warring energy through all the water systems, passing also Göbekli Tepe, of course, and all the other sites, which are on the same passage. And so, yes, there's all of this, but I think this is a year where we're claiming back the purity of the water, and where we putting all this love back into this planet, that these kind of energies are basically being erased completely. So I do believe that we are, as humans, have this enormous possibility to change things. And that's what it's really all about.
I agree 100%. And this conversation, I just laughed out loud when I heard your two other interviews on Sunday night, because the astrology was just so perfect. for what you're promoting at this time, because I've been saying in videos, this is the start point of the real acceleration. So it's so perfect what you're doing. And I know you source your water, Alex, from two very pure sources, Chalswell and Glastonbury, and another spring in Cornwall that are heavily mineralized as well, naturally.
That's right. So we are very, very aware that the energies of the spring has to be perfect. Yeah. And also the purity of the water is excellent. So when we created Aquan, it was instantaneously really, that the water was of such high purity, it would really fuse all the other elements perfectly together. So that was that was just a perfect scenario.
So my sense, Alex, and is it your sense, that we are going to jump in our consciousness so much as we go through these coming weeks and months that our past will almost crumble to dust? We'll barely recognize it. We'll barely look back because we're on such a higher timeline of just creating and creating from love. It will be a totally different experience and reality from all that we've lived.
I think I totally agree with that. And I think we're also seeing a glimpse of it already happening. So when 2024 started, I think for many people, especially in Glastonbury, I spoke to many people who are, let's say, the elders of Glastonbury, and they've been waiting for this moment for 50 years and more. And they came to me and they said, this is it. This is the moment. And we all need to do this. And I said, I totally agree. So all we needed was a tool, and the hum is a perfect tool. Aquan is a great tool to use as well. And we all are joining together. So everybody was just waiting and waiting. And I think I can say that for myself. I was waiting for this moment for 40 years. And with all the research I was doing, and probably from your own kind of experience, you're sometimes doubting and you're thinking, is this really right? And what am I waiting for? And suddenly it just all opened up, and it was just like beautiful magic. It was absolutely incredible.
And
so yeah,
the more of us do this, the easier it gets, because there's a momentum. Somebody described the Sunday evening meditation last week as we're moving together like an army of love, an army
yes.
of love. And the more of us, it just gets easier and easier, because we default to that stronger frequency of love, which more and more people are feeling. So, and it's so Aquarian. What you're suggesting is so Aquarian. It's all the people coming together for free, joining hearts, really, joining hearts across the world. And it's just visionary, actually. It's so inspiring, so visionary. And the universe has chosen you as one of the very important players to really accelerate humanity's evolution. So I think, I think the work you're doing is absolutely remarkable.
Oh, thank you. I felt just really guided, and with all the knowledge which I kind of retrieved over the last 40 years, really, I've met so many wonderful people who helped, of course, as well. And we all are the same important. It doesn't matter how much knowledge we have and how long we have been on this path, because in the end we all won anyway. So and that is the beauty. I have such good friends around me, my partner, who's very, very supportive and has put up with all this for many years, 20 years. And it is beautiful to have people around you which supportive in that way. But you're right, the love which is now connecting humanity is on a completely different level. It has taken us into a much higher dimension already. So we're already there, and we kind of opening the pathway for all of us. And of course, there will be some who are not quite awake yet, but that's okay, because we will just take them by our hands, and we just kind of guide them to the right place, and that's fine. And everybody will know what to do. This is the beauty as well. So there's no ego here. It's no need for anybody to direct us and tell us what to do. We just know.
And what's wonderful, and I'm thinking at the moment, I don't know if you're aware of the work of Robert Edward Grant, who has been doing some incredible work in the King's Chamber of deciphering what is written on the walls of the King's Chamber, which nobody had ever seen before. And he makes the point that those drawings or those etchings or however they were done were always there for thousands of years. It's only when we expand our consciousness that we can see them. And really what you're talking about here is the same process, that connection of love with source has always been there. It's just we've been under a veil. And I think part of Neptune in Pisces actually has been the veil, the
Yes.
illusion. And once Neptune moves fully out of Pisces, which it starts to do next year, although there have been many benefits of Neptune in Pisces, we lose the veil, we lose the illusion, and we get the clarity of that 0 point of Aries and a whole new beginning for humanity.
I mean, the water is an absolutely crucial point in all of this, because that's where the connection is. And no wonder that this year is a year where water plays an absolute key role in this. So connecting us to this consciousness. I wanted also to just shortly bring up an ancient text, which is also very, very interesting and ties in with what is happening at the moment with all the royals, for example, around the world, especially here in Britain, because there's a lot of question marks what is happening. So, and there seem to be a few confusions. So there are some royals which have disappeared, and some people who don't know really where some of the royals have disappeared too, and if they're still in place and whatever. So I was this incredible text which is called The Substitute King, and I was talking about it on my talk just very briefly. But this is an incredible text, and it talks about the eclipse, and this specific text is about 800 BC, Sumerian text, and it talks from the substitute king. So basically, whenever there was a solar eclipse, lunar as well, but mainly the solar eclipse, which is more important, they would put a substitute king in place, or queen, or both. And the reason for that is because they knew exactly within the time of the eclipse that the energy, the frequency would change and would give the opportunity to humans to connect. And that is the point where they were fearing that they would be overruled by the humans who they were kind of enslaving and, of course, manipulating for many thousands and thousands of years. So, and that is the reason why they put substitute kings and queens into place, so they could go into safety. And after that, which could take about 100 days before or after the eclipse, that's how long they sometimes were in hiding. And they came out, and then they would take their place, sacrifice the substitute king and queen, and would continue to rule. And that is quite interesting, because just looking at what is happening at the moment.
Very relevant.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's going to be very interesting, isn't it? So, but it's just, I have seen this really from the point of view of Pluto moving through the last few degrees of Capricorn. Anything which is a traditional elitist top-down structure will crumble, and that includes what you're referring to right now, as well as government institutions, etc. That was going to happen, and the last pass of Pluto through those last couple of degrees of Capricorn is for the 2nd of September to 19th of November, and then 20 years it moves into Aquarius. So bring it on. It's going to be a very interesting year of rapid change, I think, from the old to the new, the old system. But an analogy I often use is you're in the theatre, the scenery is collapsing, everything's coming undone, the actors are shouting louder and louder so the audience won't notice. But nevertheless, the scenery is collapsing, and we just have to kind of turn our gaze towards something much better and let that happen.
Exactly.
And it seems from your work, your beautiful products, Alex, your vision, this global hum that you're organizing, it seems that you really feel this jump into higher consciousness it's right here for us, isn't it? It's right here already. We're not waiting 10 years, 20 years. It's right here now. We just have to expand our consciousness to access it.
Yes, absolutely. You're totally right. And that is the point. So we just needed a starting point, which is the eclipse. And from there, we just continue. And we continue to rise and rise and rise. So this is the time now for us to claim this back, to take control. This is our planet. And we're not here to be controlled anymore in such a way that we feel hopeless and everything is just about doom and gloom. This is the point now of no return for us, where we are moving into a higher dimension, higher consciousness with love. And this love will resonate around the planet forever. And that is kind of the vision I have. And I think many, many people have the same vision, because this is exactly what we're going to create.
Yeah, 100%. And it's wonderful. I always knew it would come from us, because that's the Aquarian energy. It's not going to be a leader or anyone who saves us. It is coming from humanity. It's grassroots up. And so do you see, Alex, or are you just going to wait and see what happens on the eclipse, solar eclipse with a hum? But could you see yourself organizing more hums, as it were, in future as we go forward, to raise and raise and raise the frequency?
Absolutely, that's the point which we are trying to make, and we have talked about it with many of the different networks as well. And literally what I have explained is that we need to continue to hold the frequency, but also rise it and rise it. And that is something which we would like to do on certain events like the solstice or the equinox. We're just using specific moments where the earth energy is giving us the opportunity to enhance it again. So, and I think this is the whole idea. So we're continuing and continuing. And why not? Because there used to be the choirs who were in ancient times going to rivers and lakes, and they were enhancing the energy of the water by singing or chanting to the waters. And that's kind of a similar idea. Instead of singing or chanting, we're using the hum, which is a perfect connection to water anyway, especially within us. Yes. So, and that's the idea, so that we will continue this, of course.
This is just so thrilling for all of us. It is so thrilling that it's that simple, for free. Everybody in the world can do it. And just God bless you, Alex, for the work you're doing. I think it's just absolutely wonderful, and really see how this jumps us so quickly into the new human, which we're really feeling right now. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we close with your wonderful work?
I just wanted to explain that the hum is so easy to create, and people are asking me, okay, is it really important, for example, to have the specific note? And I can only say we did numerous experiments, and it was very interesting to see that. So one group, for example, had a C4 note, which we played to the group of people, and then the other group had no instruction at all. There was absolutely no difference. The sounds were completely the same. So we all have the ability, and we have a deep knowing which note we have to hum.
Oh, it's just sensational. It's beyond exciting. I will definitely be humming. I will definitely be humming with you. And so will, I think, many, many millions of people across the world. And I'll, as well as in this video, I'll put out reminders on social media as well. And so get as many people as possible involved, because absolutely, why not? What's the alternative? Sticking with fear.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a no-brainer. It's one or the other. It's a bifurcation. It's a fork in the road.
Yes, definitely. It's time to do this now, and I think many people are ready to do this. Many people are. So, and I just wanted to say also that we have created a different aquan, which is infused with C4 note. So the vibration of 256, the frequency, just to help people along. It's in a smaller bottle. It's quite inexpensive and affordable for everybody.
Beautiful. It has just been beyond exciting and inspiring. speaking with you, Alex. You have a very unique, specific piece of the puzzle, and a very big piece of the puzzle in raising humanity's consciousness at this time. And I'm so grateful to you for everything you're doing. I know you've worked immensely hard over the decades to get to this point, but it's payback time now.
Yeah. Well, my vision is very simple. I just would like to see humanity in a much better space, and I think we are already moving into that space with the love we have for each other, being united and just taking control and being the beings which we're supposed to be. So that's all I want. That is my vision. So, and I think I share that with many people.
Wonderful, absolutely. Yes, that's what I'm putting out through the astrology all the time as well, Alex. So I hope to meet you in person one day, not too far from you. So, but just thank you a millionfold for all that you're doing and working so hard for on behalf of all of humanity. So God bless you. And I know you've had some sort of internet network problems at your end, and hence the camera zooming in and out sometimes, but the content was superlative. So thank you so much for your time when you're so busy traveling at the moment. I really appreciate it.
Really appreciate you having me today. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. God bless you. And I'll be humming along with you. Thank you, Alex. Bye for now. Bye, everybody. Bye. Love to you all.